Hello, this is Bill from my backyard here in Lock, beautiful day in La Canyada, and here's a follow-up video on the aging process. And this is this is sort of in response to Dr. Peter Attia's recent short video about this whole process of aging, and he's talking about muscle mass, how you look at average, it kind of starts here and it just smoothly, gradually goes away. Of course, he says at the individual level, what actually happens, you kind of take it in steps. Well, yeah, I'm living proof of proof of that. I'm going to talk about what's happened with my run training. Uh, in particular, what happened during the AC 100 ramp up. So, um, one of the runs I did in training for that even before was this run up to this TP in the mountain, and a friend of mine a long time ago called it "wheel on your nose" because it's so freaking steep. There's 1,000 miles of 1,000 feet of climb in the last mile. In the last half mile, it's 700 feet. It's brutal. So there's no way you can half-ass this. So that's why it's a pretty good fitness metric for VO2 max, I think, and stuff like that. Is that you can't fake this. Just to keep going up this thing without stopping and walking and stuff is brutal. So um, I've run this run a number of times, and I could give you like a history, which I'll show you my history of this running since, let's see, since I was like before, like about 56, late 56, now up to almost 62. And I'll show you how this decline, and it's pretty depressing and alarming. Um, okay, here's a chart of my times running up this last mile, up to this TP. I remember because of the steepness of this thing, my friend called it "wheel on your nose," and I guess the name stuck. But anyway, I started running this back in when I was about 57 years old, or a little before. I guess I was sort of getting into some trail running. I thought this is a good thing to work out. And then over the time, these are the various times I've taken to run on this. What I want to notice is that when I first started returning back to trail running, and let's say I was around 57 years old, and I've zoomed up this time segment here, as you can see, I was steadily improving as I was running up this hill at 57 years old. Then I took a little bit of a break, and then I kind of got back into running. And actually, I don't know how good this data is, because I was, for some reason, on the phone app, I was getting a lot of data drops. And so it was really quite noisy. Maybe the only robust thing, it seems like I'd gotten a bit worse, but it's hard to quantify. But after I decided to run the AC 100, which is about 60 and a half years old, and the race was when I was about 61 and a half, I got back into pretty serious training for this, at least serious for me. And you can see that all my times are quite a bit slower than what they were when I was 57 years old. And then if you zoom this up, this is what was really depressing. Is not only were they slower, but they were also trending slower during the whole training period. So the question is, what changed? And I guess I could look at four things. The amount of running I was doing, the amount of calisthenics training I was doing, because I was 4 years into my calisthenics training when in this first training periods, my body weight and my diet. Here's the thing, running had gone from about 20 miles a week during this period, and then I had increased it to 50 to 60 miles per week because I was training for this AC 100 run. So that had gone up quite a bit. Calisthenics training was similar in both periods. I was very much emphasizing keeping my strength. Of course, here I was trying to build it up, but the early period. But here, during the AC 100 training, I was really focused on maintaining my strength, and the evidence that probably was working was that my weight did not change,
and and then my diet, I would say, did not really change either. It was still emphasizing protein. So here's the interesting conundrum: I was running less and getting worse. And of course, the other thing that changed during this time is that I'm 4 years older. So, so the two things that did change was running more miles in the later period, and I'm getting 4 years older. And I guess my interpretation of this is that in the earlier period, my return on training investment was beating the decline due to aging, and so I was able to see improvements as I was running this more, because this was a ramp up in training even to get to 20 miles a week at that point. 4 years later, however, the decline due to aging is now starting to accelerate, and I guess my interpretation is that the return on training investment, despite going a lot more miles and more determined, really was now being offset, actually being defeated by my aging declines. So yeah, this is pretty depressing. I knew this when I was actually doing the training, because I tracked it, and it was perplexing and a bit of a red flag for me, because I thought, wow, I should be getting better, and instead I was actually trending worse. So I guess this is just another sign of the times for me, that aging is eventually going to beat out your what you can do training wise. And yeah, once again, I guess this is just affirming to me that your baseline abilities are probably going to be really what's important in terms of longevity statistics and stuff like that.
So what I've showed here is pretty hard, clear evidence that aging is overtaking my ability to maintain a performance level through training. And I realize that I'm only a statistic of one, and people will be different. But I also do believe that death is inevitable, and obviously this is just a reaffirmation of my mortality is coming. One thing I can say about myself versus a lot of these longevity influencers and stuff, I was not ever considered talented for running, so probably, and then probably most people aren't either, so I'm probably more relatable that way. As my high school coach told me I wasn't talented for running, and basically he's right. So I realized that I'm 67 years old, so definitely into the later chapter of my life, and I'm going to start losing things as I get older. Um, I hope I don't lose my ability. Well, I know I'm going to lose my ability to do muscle ups and things like that. So I just hope I could get a few more years out of this. But a lot of these people that are trying to cheat death, this is interesting. I'm going to get into religion here. In thermodynamics, there's a postulate that you can either create or destroy energy. We have no proof that that's actually fact or anything. We just build a whole theory and science around believing that's true, and it seems to work for the field of thermodynamics. So, in Genesis chapter 3, verse 19, this is what it says: by the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you will return. And so the price of sin is that we're all going to die. Certainly, it can't prove that's the case scientifically, just like science can't prove thermodynamics conservation of energy. This is really just a postulate or a conviction sent down by God, but it's one I believe is true. And while everyone's time on Earth will be different, probably mostly regulated by your genetic predispositions. You know, we are all going to die, and I think the previous video I showed what I think is also a pretty strong affirmation of this, is that human beings are nominally built to live a certain amount of time in this time and age, and surprisingly it's a tight distribution around the median age of 89. So it's depressing what I show, but yeah, thank you for listening, and actually I'd love to have an hour of time with Peter and Tia to show my experiences and what's happening to me. I think I do a pretty good job of keeping myself fit and active, and while I don't consider myself a dietary strict person, I mean, I eat my probably fair junk. In addition to healthy things, I don't think I have a bad diet, so, and my body's tight, and I think my body fat's pretty low, so yeah, anyway, my feeling about the training is this, and I just want to end it on this. I don't think that anyone should be treating training like a 401k plan, that you're just banking this for future longevity, but rather you train for the here and now. Train to be as capable as you can for now. Train to look as good as you can. Train to you know, be able to participate in physical activities with your friends, so you know, so the get the social benefits, and yeah, that's what you train for. Yeah, not as a 401k plan. You could do that with money, but I don't believe you could do that with fitness. Anyway, thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, share, do all the YouTube-y things, and talk to you later. Bye-bye.